So today we're going to talk about something that's become, well, terrifyingly familiar, the school lockdown. We're going to break down 3 true first-person accounts. And the point here isn't just to hear the scary stories, it's to really understand what happens in those moments when a totally normal day just completely shatters. Let's start with a scene that is, all too ordinary.
Our first story kicks off in the most ordinary way you can imagine. I mean, picture this. You're sitting in calculus class, probably just watching the clock, right? Just trying to make it through the day. The scene is meant to feel totally mundane, which, of course, makes what comes next that much more jarring.
And you know that feeling. It's the last period on a Friday. Spring break is so close you can almost taste it. Everyone is just kind of checked out, relaxed, and definitely not expecting anything to go wrong. The teacher's so laid back he's even letting the class play games online.
And then you hear that sound, the one that cuts right through every classroom. It's supposed to mean, morning announcements or fire drill. But this time, the tone was just different. This was the exact moment the entire vibe of the school changed in an instant.
This brings us to our first story, which we're calling When the Drill is Real. See, schools practice these lockdown drills all the time. But what happens when that familiar announcement, "This is a drill," gets replaced with something way, way more urgent? For this one classroom, that terrifying reality started with a voice in the hall.
The threat isn't someone you can see. It's just a sound, a presence, just outside the door. And that not knowing, that can be the most terrifying thing of all.
Things escalated so incredibly fast. One minute you're goofing off with an online game, the next, the dean's voice comes over the loudspeaker and it's pure panic. Suddenly, the chill teacher is scrambling to the door. Then the power cuts out. That familiar hum of the school just dies, and it's replaced by this unnerving, total silence. And then, that silence is just torn apart by screaming from the hallway.
And that screaming quickly became words, this direct, violent threat. It wasn't just random yelling anymore. It was a promise, echoing down the hall as this person started banging on lockers, getting closer and closer.
This is it. This is the moment of peak terror. That one flimsy door between the students huddled in the corner and that violent voice in the hall is now being attacked. The man starts pounding on their door, screaming, "Open up." For everyone inside, time must have just stopped. The way this story ends is just so unsettling. The official report said the guy fled. But a janitor? He later found him asleep in a closet. And there was a rumor going around that he was armed. But get this, before the police could get there, he was just gone. No capture, no justice. Just this lingering fear that he was never even caught.
Okay, on to our second story, the danger next door. In this one, the threat isn't some unseen phantom inside the school. No, it's a known danger right outside the walls, basically hiding in plain sight. So this lockdown starts with total confusion during lunch. 4 loud booms echo across the cafeteria. Is it thunder? Well, the crowd's panicked screams say otherwise. Security acts fast, pushing hundreds of kids into a multi-purpose room. And what's the first thing they do? They cover the huge glass walls. They were trying to hide everyone from something just outside.
And here's what it was. The threat was a man who had barricaded himself in his house, which was directly across the school from the students. The students found out pretty quickly that he wasn't just threatening violence, he was also a registered sex offender who had been seen watching them. So the danger wasn't just close, it felt really personal and, well, predatory.
What's so terrifying here is how a threat can just hide in plain sight. A friend of the narrator remembered seeing this guy the Halloween before, writing that exact message on his window in what looked like his own blood. At the time, she and everybody else just blew it off as some weird, morbid decoration. It was only now that they realized it was a warning.
Our last story is, well, it's probably the most intense. Hiding with the shooter. Because here, the narrator doesn't hide from the threat. He unknowingly ends up hiding with it. The danger isn't outside, it's not down the hall, it's standing right next to him in the dark.
So our narrator, he's an intern, he's working alone in a basement office when the lockdown call comes through. He kills the lights, he hides, and then he hears it. Footsteps pounding down the stairs and into his office. As he's crawling under his desk, heart just racing, he realizes he's not alone. There's a stranger standing silently in the dark room with him. And at that exact moment, his phone lights up with a text.
After a terrifying moment, the narrator confronts the man.
And the guy gives a perfectly reasonable explanation. He says he's a parent, and a teacher told him to hide down here. I mean, it's plausible. For a split second, it seems like he's just another person caught up in all the chaos.
He looks down at the text from his coworker. It's a description of the shooter, some guy with a gun, wearing a red shirt and hat. He's about to share this info with the apparent hiding with him, to warn him, but as he opens his mouth, he just stops cold.
He slowly looks up from his phone. The parent standing right in front of him, the guy he was about to comfort, is wearing a red shirt and a hat. In that absolutely sickening moment, he realizes he isn't hiding from the shooter, he's hiding with him.
Realizing he's been made, the narrator does the only thing he can do. He runs. A gunshot just explodes in that tiny basement space. He hears the bullet ricochet off something metal in the dark, but he makes it up the stairs, where the police are waiting. They manage to apprehend the shooter right then and there.
And that brings us to our wrap-up, the unsettling aftermath. After going through these three just harrowing events, you start to see a common thread. The immediate danger might pass, but that experience, it leaves a permanent mark on everyone who went through it.
When you break it down like this, you can really see the different shapes terror can take. You have this unresolved, unseen threat that leaves this ambiguous, lingering fear. Then you have the known, external danger that creates this feeling of just prolonged helplessness. And finally, a direct confrontation that forces an impossible split-second choice. What's so clear is that there's no single lockdown experience, and a quote-unquote safe resolution is definitely not always guaranteed.
And this really is the ultimate takeaway. For anyone who's lived through this, the world is never quite the same. A place that's supposed to be for learning becomes a place of trauma. Ordinary sounds, a locker door slamming, a crackle over the loudspeaker, they're all forever tied to a moment of pure, absolute fear.
We've just looked at 3 accounts that someone happened to share, but it leaves us with one final, chilling question. For every story that makes it online or gets on the news, how many more are just quietly carried by students and teachers who are just trying their best to forget?